Now, as you know from watching this channel, I hate psychics. They're troglodytes, they're disgusting. I think they're bottom feeders. Now, because of this opinion, what happens from time to time is that I get an influx of comments from people that believe in psychics, defending their belief in psychics. Your opinion is wrong, it's incorrect. Usually these psychics are feminine men, but today we got psychic kids, boy. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was 11 years old, your boy thought that he could be Spider-Man. I was out here thinking that one day I could potentially be swinging from building to building. I also have to point out that I was retarded. But now they got the kids in it too. Today we're going to be looking at an inside edition video in regards to 2 psychic children. Now, right off the bat, when you talk about kids, you know you ain't talking about kids. You're talking about the parents. Kids are dumb. They're stupid. They don't have any direction in life unless they're given direction. And that direction usually comes in the part of a teacher or their parent. So here we have Inside Edition giving some airwaves to these 2 children that claim to be psychic. Now, of course, this has to be based on a television show for A&E called Psychic Kids. So you have to wonder if there's some Alex Jones level conspiracy theory here in regards to Inside Edition posting this particular story as an advertisement for the show.
I have healing, I'm clairaudient, clairvoyant, and I just know things sometimes.
Now, this was one of my favorite parts in this video because Homeboy says that he's clairaudient. Clairvoyant, of course, being that you could see certain things, and clairaudient being that you could hear certain things. You know for sure this kid's mama is an elder crystal bitch. Don't get me wrong, I love the occasional crystal shoddy. If you got the assets, but you want to put a rose quartz in my pocket to make sure that I don't cheat on you, I'll gladly do it.
Some of my empathic abilities, it makes me be able to feel other people's emotions. Say someone at my school was feeling really upset, then I would feel really upset.
Now, whoever edited this video is an absolute god for putting that picture when this kid is talking about the fact that he's a level 64 enchanter. Homeboy's got all the powers. Usually when you play a video game, you gotta pick one character and you gotta stick that throughout the entirety of the game. Not this guy. This guy said, fuck it, I'm all of them.
We didn't know how to help him. And the old school that he was at, he would go to school and he would talk about things that the kids couldn't relate to or understand. He started getting teased for being different.
Now, I would bully this kid. I know that's something that's not necessarily PC to say, but just come on. You're 11 years old and you're claiming to be a psychic. We already know that that's bad enough if you're 20 years old and you're claiming to be a psychic. If you're a child, that just implies that your parents are putting that thing into your head. There's no way that you could barrel through life until you're 11 without any sort of prior knowledge of psychics or any sort of view in the esoteric, and then somehow by yourself come up with the idea that you're fucking equidistant, clairaudient. It's not a thing. Clearly, it's your parents that are instilling this sort of belief in you and now taking advantage of the fact that their kid's on a television show.
I'm a medium. I'm an empath. I can do felt sensing, remote view, and I can do psychometry.
Now we happen to have another girl here that's being also profiled that just named a bunch of magic tricks. Now we'll get to her case in particular because it is quite sad how she got to this point where she believes that she has psychic powers. However, she is still claiming to have psychic powers, which I'm wholeheartedly against. Your boy PigCake has a zero tolerance policy. I don't care if it's because of the death of a loved one, it's because of some other prior trauma. If you're a psychic, and your boy's coming after you.
Felt sensing is used a lot whenever I feel something and then it has a lot of history behind it.
Me personally, I only felt sense when I'm horny.
When I first found out she had abilities, I was just mortified. I had no idea what to do. There is no number to call. I first looked into paranormal groups in the area.
I'm never fucking wrong. I knew the mom was gonna look like this. Am I psychic? I know that she's gonna be one of these moms that has a live, love, laugh pillow. I know that she's gonna have some sort of weird esoteric earrings.
I first looked into paranormal groups in the area to help me, which they did. They came over and talked to us.
And you know, these bundle of creeps are definitely salivating at the thought of having a psychic child, something that's very easily marketable. This almost reminds me of that episode of South Park where Cartman fights off a group of these psychics.
You must pay the $25 fee and give us 10% of your earnings.
10% my balls, get lost.
What's interesting is because that's actually based on reality. In order to join these organizations, you have to give them a portion of what you make, and also you have to pay for the certification to become a psychic. So somewhere down the line, some entrepreneurial psychic decided, hey, I know how to make money on this. I'm gonna rip off the people that are ripping off people.
Then you leave us no choice.
Right now to see what information we can pick up about the energy here.
Got it. I want to know how old you were. I feel like he was like a teenager. I feel bad for him
What makes you feel bad?
because he was so young.
Yo, let me tell you, Inside Edition is wild for putting this out as news. I can't imagine that there's any journalistic integrity looking at this particular piece.
Kendall was 4.5, and they were adopted about 2 years after we got them in 2017. A little over 2 months after we did Psychic Kids, my husband died, and we really embraced her gifts at that point. It brings you a lot closer to the other side.
Now, here is the unfortunate truth of the issue. We have a person that has had some sort of loss that is very traumatizing to their life, which we could all empathize with. And because of that, they decided to go down this particular route in order to cope with it. Now, as much as I hate the idea of psychics, and especially these mediums that claim to be able to contact your loved ones and essentially fabricate false memories for their profit. And in this particular instance, the father did pass away, and both of them, this is their way of grieving. They want to believe in something else because that allows them to believe that maybe they could communicate with the husband. Again, I disagree with that notion once you decide to monetize that. However, for the time being, if it is a way that you can deal with grief, then by all means, believe that you're a psychic. But if you're here trying to shill a show and telling other people that you could communicate with their loved ones just based on, I don't know, BS, that's when you have a problem with your boy Piggy here.
Ethan's an empath, which means that he can feel and take on the emotions of people around him and the energy of the environment around him. And so that's something that we have to be very aware of, and even for school, when he was out since he was little.
I also love it when people turn normal human abilities into psychic powers. So essentially you're telling me that you're an empath, meaning that you could tell when people are feeling certain emotions. Oh yeah, when I walk into a room, I could tell when people are angry. Oh yeah, how? How can you tell that? Is it because they're screaming? No, it's because I'm an empath. I'm in tune with their emotion. That's another group of girls that I love. They're very attractive to me. Girls that consider themselves to be empaths but actually hit the gym. I love these shawties because they have the ability to apparently fine tune and be able to hear the actual emotions taking place around them, but they have no control over their own lives. Those are the type of girls that essentially have a diet of Cheetos, lying, and Plan B.
One spirit I saw in the basement, I couldn't see her face, so it kind of made me a bit scared, so I didn't really talk about it. She had white skin, brown hair, and that's all I got. And she would sometimes go up to my room too.
Now this thing reminds me of the whole notion of aliens. Now don't get me wrong, I do believe that somewhere down the line in some sort of far off universe there are aliens, because you have to. It's just such a vast universe. There has to be other life that exists outside of our own. However, here's where your boy puts up the wall. Why is it that when you look at these aliens that are apparently portrayed in media and people have claimed to see, why is it that they always have human-like characteristics? Why is it that they have the same characteristics as popular television shows? Why is it that they have the same characteristics as things they've seen in movies? You would think that if they're aliens coming from far off places that they might have advanced far past our human form. And yet they all seem to have 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose. The point of me bringing this up is that it's the exact same thing with ghosts. If you're a medium and you happen to see a ghost, what a coincidence that they happen to look exactly like every single ghost that's ever been portrayed in fiction. They have clothes. Of course, that implies that somewhere in the ethereal space exists a ghost target. You might have a psychic come in and tell you, no, they're in the same form that they wish they lived in. So that's how they manifest their clothes. I don't fucking believe that. I don't believe that. If there were ghosts, they'd be naked. And yet for some reason, all these mediums happen to see the same girl from The Grudge. Now, when I was 11 years old, I thought I could fix my aunt's car. I had no knowledge of automobiles. I believed it. I thought that I could pop the front of her car and actually fix it. We believe crazy shit in our youth. You would think that parents would be there to encourage creative thinking, however, put a stamp on unrealistic thoughts. Nope, not all of them. Some of them see the dollar signs and they go, whoa, hey, television show, you're psychic. So this was a very interesting piece to look at just because it represents a problem that I have with humans, and that is their ability not to be complacent with what they have. Humans are very easily bored. We're not satisfied with what's given to us. We want to believe that there's something more because it's a very morbid thought to think that once you go, that's it. Now, sometimes I find myself battling that particular opinion, and you do have some miscellaneous religious tendencies. However, when it comes to this line of thought, you can't talk to the dead. And if you could, you would definitely be a lot more specific than these idiot psychics that I've profiled before. You're not an empath, you're a human. It's hardwired into our survival mechanisms to be able to pick up on people's emotions. Why? Because it's a survival mechanism. If you see someone that's angry, you know to avoid them because you don't want to die. You tend to avoid people that are sad or displaying negative emotions because you don't want them to affect your own personal life. Women tend to avoid short people because they want to have a mate that gives them an offspring that's actually tall and able to reach the top shelf. But let me tell you, they're missing out on some good D. I really enjoy doing these videos where I deep dive on psychics, and in this case, it was a small look at an actual news publication. But if you have any psychics that you want me to dunk on and or take a look at for a future video, please leave it in the comment section below. It tricks YouTube into thinking that this channel is actually worthwhile and has organic engagement when really I'm actually asking for it, almost begging. I like to give advice at the end of the video. Right here's a good one. This is coffee. You wouldn't think it because it's very milky, but that's because what I did is that I slammed in a protein shake. So I just grabbed a protein shake and slammed it in my coffee, used it as creamer. And now this coffee ostensibly has 42 grams of protein and coffee. So win-win.
I see you again, when I see you again, when I see you again, when I see you again. When I see you again, when I see you again, when I see you again.